Thank you for joining us for another episode of Executive Insights, where every week we answer 4 business questions.
3 from various levels of business journey and 1 personal question as a business owner.
Today we will be talking about the art of the start. I'm your host, Gervais Nelson, CEO of VaseTime and co-founder of VaseTime Foundation, along with my amazing co-hosts.
Hey everyone, I'm Marie Rose, CEO of Rosebud Studios and president and founder of Rose Petals to Success.
With us today, we have a good friend of mine since going back to John Bartram High School, Jordan Nair. I'll let her introduce herself. I have with me.
Hey y'all, I'm Alicia B, and I'm your favorite anger management specialist. If I'm not, don't worry, I'll become it.
So feel free to add your comments, like, shares, and of course to be sure to subscribe as we share our executive insight.
Question number 1, this is for our aspiring entrepreneurs, those who are looking to start a business, not sure where to get your first step in the door, just trying to get some insight on what's waiting for you around the corner. What's the first decision every entrepreneur needs to get right before anything else? Marie?
All right, so I think that the first decision every entrepreneur needs to get right before anything else is who is their audience. You can run your business, you can do your marketing, you can build your foundation. However, if you're marketing to the wrong audience, it doesn't even matter because the audience will not buy into what you're doing unless it's like out of good faith, but that's not going to make you a profitable business eventually. So knowing who your audience is.
For me, I think you should understand your profit. Are you going to be a profit company or non-profit company? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you could run into problems where, say the first year with VaseTime, I was trying to do give back work, and I ran into a problem where I was taking donations, and it was like, my accountant was like, you can't take donations, you're a profit company. So I had to learn that the difference between profit and non-profit. So that's a big one. I think a lot of people make that mistake early on.
So I was going to kind of piggyback off of what you said. I feel like entrepreneurs, we should know your niche, you know what I mean? Because sometimes we start off doing this and then it's like, no, maybe I should go into this. And then you look around, you have all these different things, you're trying to do all these different things, and you're just like, maybe I should have just stuck with this one thing. Just to know exactly what you want to do. You don't have to perfect that thing, but just to know what you want to do, then you kind of go from there, you know?
Mm-hmm. Question number 2. What was the most unexpected challenge you had in the first 90 days? For me personally, the emotional roller coaster. When you first open it, like I said, everything's exciting. You're feeling good. You're here. And everything's going on. Your family is supporting you. Friends are supporting you. Everybody's buying your stuff day one. You're feeling good. And then probably about that 30 days in, it's like the new car smell kind of fade away.
Yeah.
And now nobody's buying and nobody's supporting.
Yes.
So you go from being here to here.
Yeah.
And that's when the doubt starts creeping in.
Yeah.
That's when you're second guessing yourself. And that's when you're starting to, am I doing the right thing? So it's like you kind of go through all these different things, and then people in business are telling you, you know, stick with it, keep going, you got a good thing here. And you're like, dude, I don't see it. I'm not making no money. I'm about to like fold up. What are you talking about? Keep going. This ain't working. And you start doing all this erratic stuff. And then in the process of doing that, it's like you're just going through all these different emotions, and like your family can't really help you because they don't really understand what you're going through day to day as a business. So you go through a lot of loneliness, and just it's a lot of highs and lows and emotions in that first 90 days. But I think if you can get through that first 90, it kind of starts to balance out, and then you start to understand who your target market is, who those people are you in the right lane, are you preaching to the right people, and then you'll find your niche as well, and all that kind of just balances out, and then you can make it through that first year successfully.
I think talking about the emotional roller coaster covers everything because you go through an emotional roller coaster.
No, that was really
good. But you go through it like, number 1, okay, everybody showed up to my grand opening, but then, hey y'all, I need y'all to still buy. Or number 2, okay, I got this social media, but my likes and my comments and my engagement is not going up. And then within the first 90 days, you get your real bills now. Yeah. So you can't be prepared for that. Because even when you call Pico and you ask them what has been the average amount that this building has or whatever, they can't tell you what you're going to what your bills are going to be. The reality is you have, it was nice when you said, oh my gosh, my insurance is this amount. Man, my Pico bill, I can afford this. My rent is this. Yes, but then when they all came in at the same time, and now this becomes your monthly debt that you got to take care of, and then you're saying, wait, based on the grand opening, they showed up for me, but that show up is now we in 90 days, and I still got the same debt every month that I got to pay. How am I going to get through that? What do I need to do? Now I need to go back to shaking hands.
Yeah.
I need to show up. Well, when will I have time to do that? A lot of times in that first 90 days, it still becomes our baby because we worked on it every day leading up to the grand opening. So when the grand opening happened and now you need to show up at the networking events that you was advertising in about your grand opening to continue the flow going for your operation. So being able to navigate that schedule and maintain that same flexibility that you had in that grind to get the space open or whatever the business is open, you got to put that same energy now and delegate more. But we weren't prepared for the delegation because it was not a requirement before the 90 days.
I mean, I would literally have to piggyback up on what you both said because the first 90 days, well, let's just go to the first 30 days. Like you
Break
said,
it up, do your thing.
your family's there, your friends are there, you know, so everything looks, the numbers are looking great. And then after that, it's just like, where are the people, you know? So it's very hard to get through, you know, after the first 30 days, you know, your family supporting you and everything like that. Then what next, you know? So I think, like you said, after you go through that emotional roller coaster, am I really going to stick with this or am I going to cut my losses? You know, what to do? I think after all that, then you can kind of know either to keep going or fold. You know?
Yeah. Question number 3. This one's for you, Leash.
Okay.
This is for our established business owners looking to scale up, been in business for a while. Maybe you're just looking for some fresh new energy or whatever the situation may be. If you had to start from scratch today, new name, no contracts, what's your very first move you make?
What's the very first move I would make? Honestly, if I can be honest, I would find someone in my industry before I even started my business, before I even did the grand open, all that stuff, you know, to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Can you give me some advice? This is what I have. Can you show me? Give me the blueprint, you know, because we have these ideas in my mind. Oh, this is working. I'm about to be a multi-millionaire with this, you know. Although, you know, we took the time and we researched, but there was somebody that did this before me. They could have said, well, that's not going to work because, you know, so for sure I would have gotten a mentor in my field to say, you know, this is what I have. Can you look over it? Can you know, what's your thoughts about it? And then a lot of times we don't do that because we think we know everything. You do not want to hear anyone say, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. And you're like, yes, it is because I did the research. No, I've been in business for 20 years doing the same thing. This is not going to work. So I think I literally would have done that.
Going back to my mentor, since we go back to the mentor coach, my mentor coach, Mark Kramer, he was actually the one that gave me the idea about the living walls. And he was like, you love the art, you love to do. How do you get your art and mix it with your landscape? And he said, I did some industry research. It's these things called living walls. If you're as creative and as good as art as you say you are, and you like plants the way you say you do, you can do that and put the two together and you should have a lane for yourself. So just taking in that advice from people and your mentors who have taken that time ahead of you. What I think we all learned being in the stage that we're in now is how to save time. You know what I mean? Like we try to, and I realized he was just trying to save me time on the learning curve. And I say that because what I would do first is I would create a really detailed value proposition. When I asked him and he broke it all down to me, he said, oh, you just you want to make money. But what's your why? And I had my why, but my why wasn't solid. It was what I started business for. He made me sit down, really dig inside myself because we don't like to project. And he broke me down to like almost like a real vulnerable state. And he was like, why are you doing this? And he just kept asking me. And I was like, he's like, what do you want? What are you trying to do this for? And I was like, well, how does it feel? And then he got me to my why and my mission statement. And it came from me, but it was from him nagging and pushing. And it made you be vulnerable. So it's like, listen, man, I just like helping people. I want people to feel good. I want my community to be better. He's like, well, that's why you're doing it. And I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense. And, you know, we worked with the wording and got it how it needed to be. So my step 1 would be a clear why, a clear definition, a clear value proposition. Why am I doing this? What problem am I solving? And why is what I'm doing is important.
Okay. So I'm going to go with that, and then I'm just going to go further. So I think that's so important, but also, you know, I'm big on building social equity, and I feel like despite whatever I have, even if I didn't have a brand today, a business today, and I just went into rooms with people and they knew my name as Marie and they put me at these tables, that will be enough for me.
Okay.
Because I'm an observer, so I'm going to soak up everything in this room, and from there I'm going to find out where I am needed. And I'm soaking all the information in, and as I'm doing it, I'm realizing CEOs just want to be treated like regular people. We don't want to talk about business. We don't want to talk about deals. We want deals to naturally happen because we want to make things easier for ourselves. So now at the level that we're at, we're not asking, okay, what can you sell to me? No, what can you take off my plate? What do you offer that will make my job easier that I don't have to do? So I understand the concept of when people talked about the golf course and things like that, because they literally are talking about during a time when they are at their most self-care, mellow moments, focused on themselves. You know what I really need is this.
All right, bonus question. Our moment of transparency. This is when we give you a look behind the curtain of entrepreneurship, the highs, the lows, who knows what's going to come out of our face based on the question. Starting something from nothing teaches you what about your mindset? It taught me to embrace failure. Growing up playing sports all my life, you lose, it was like the worst feeling in the world. But in business, it's different. It was like a mindset switch that I had to undergo. And I learned to embrace the failures because the failures to me allow me to build new data points. It showed me a better way to make something, it showed me a different way to make something better. It showed me that it was a learning opportunity. I love learning different things. I took rejection as a redirection. I don't like being told no, but when you go in certain rooms, you don't have control over that. So it feels like a failure when you go into a space to try to have some social equity and you kind of get shunned away. Like I would go in and say, I'm a landscaper. And people would just look at me like, you can cut my lawn later. And I'm like, no, I do more. And it was just like done, conversation gone. Wow. So I've learned not to go in there and say I'm a landscaper. I had to dig deeper. Like, what is it that I do that makes me different that I can hold a conversation? Oh, I own a horticultural company that specializes in custom services for residential commercial services. What's that? So I learned to do different ways, and it just built a mental toughness where I won't be told no. And it's just I just kept overcoming objections so I wouldn't fail again. So I learned to embrace failure as new ways to be better at my craft.
So I learned that being a rebellion is not a negative. So I've always been rebellious. So when people say no, that means opportunity. So for me, I just needed to be able to channel that rebellion into a positive trait. So if I had to put things in place to be able to make it work, meaning I know I get easily distracted, but I know I'm good with a routine. So if I do the same thing every day, it'll remind me to keep to where the goals that I'm set forth on. So before I went to bed, it was the same routine every day until I learned that this is what I need to do, until I accomplished this goal. And then it ended up being my regular. Like I didn't have to remind myself anymore. I felt bad if I didn't do it because it became my mindset. But I don't care what the competition is because I came in and built relationships in that room.
So for me, this walk is taught me how to become fearless. I grew up in a church. I'm a church girl.
I was going to say.
And so I adopted the term all faith, no fear. So when it comes to business, I'm jumping out there. It doesn't matter what it is, who's there. I don't care. I'm showing up. I'm going to do my big one, and that's it, If something does not happen the way I need it to happen, I might have cry a little bit, but tomorrow we starting over, So this journey, this walk I've become fearless. I've become stronger because you can't be no punk trying to have no business, because you have to face so many different obstacles, so many different people, so many different personalities. So when it comes to business, now I'm fearless and I'm doing it. I'm jumping out the window. So
please remember, everything that we say is general advice. Even though you can apply it to your business, we highly recommend that you schedule a one-on-one with either one of us so that we can gear the information to your specific business. We know that it sounds amazing coming from us, but as we stated in the session, that the information from another niche or another industry, it may sound familiar, but it will really apply if you talk to us specifically or someone in your industry.
Any final words, closeouts, shout outs, plugs, anything? Anything going on in your field, in your business, day to day?
Well, yes. So every year, my company, Bit by Bit, Together We Grow, we have a toy drive. and I'm getting ready for Christmas in July. So Christmas in July, we're just talking to different businesses, seeing if they want to sponsor children for Christmas, and just getting ready for that. Also, we do free monthly anger management workshops for low-income families. So if you feel like you need to book a session, please call us. My website is www.growingbitbybit.org, and I would love to talk to you. That's all I have.
That was perfect. Let me know more about the Christmas thing.
I
I'm
sure
all for the
will.
kiddies.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Alicia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks
You're
for
welcome
having me. I
anytime. You can
appreciate
definitely come
it.
hang
I
out
was so
with us.
nervous. I didn't know what to expect, but I really appreciate you guys for reaching out. I'm having a good time.
Good. All right. So when we come back next week, we have another amazing guest, and the theme for next week, we're talking about the power of partnership.
Awesome.
Strategic
I love that.
collaborations
Nice.
and vendor relationships. We got a real powerhouse coming next week who's an expert in that field. So
Awesome.
you're not going to want to miss it. Be sure to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Executive Insights. Follow us on YouTube. We would get the whole show. And we'll talk to you then. Stay inspired. Never stop creating.